brightest mind of a generation. As things get worse, I feel as though he owes me an apology still, but that's okay. It's not about things we've said in the past. It's about things he's saying right now. This is called Atheist Debates, Humanism, and Murder, and this is about Luigi.
The Atheist Debates Patreon project presents Humanism and Murder. Who sets the policies at your job, and why?
Hopefully it's collectively bargained.
I know that in the past when I've worked for other people, somebody's out there making decisions, and I frequently disagree with them.
Sure.
In many occasions, I would find out that a policy that I thought that was ridiculous and unfair was, in fact, ridiculous and unfair, and that somebody had been essentially promoted beyond their competence and making decisions that they just didn't have the qualifications to make. They didn't have the understanding of the data. How many times have you guys seen policies at your work where you're pretty sure you could do better and you don't even have all the information?
Mm-hmm.
And then occasionally you'll find that there's a good reason for a policy, something that you were unaware of. And yet you didn't get promoted beyond your qualifications and talents, or maybe you did, but we'll hope that you didn't. It's a common concern. And on some occasions you find out that the policy has a good reason. And in some cases it was just a mistake. It was just someone.
I'm going to have to speed this up. Aiden Betting says, I used to screen calls for his show with Jimmy a few years back. Glad I got out before things got particularly frustrating. It's tough. I mean, I'd be happy to talk to anybody. Jimmy's kind of cringe, but it's okay. I mean, he, came out of Mormonism. You get to be a little cringe. I mean, it's really this pearl clutchy lib thing. We'll talk about it as we get into this, I'm sure. But, I mean, right now he's sort of saying, like, did the healthcare CEO make 100% bad policy decisions and deserve death or something? Like, who can say who desires to die? Yeah, Jimmy's a creep. Well, I don't know any information about that. I've heard some stuff from on like Twitter and stuff, and he's made like apology videos, but I'm not like up on it. So let's see. Let's keep going. I put him at 1.25 speed.
Thinking incorrectly, making decisions with insufficient information. Recently, the police have arrested the man who allegedly murdered the CEO of United Healthcare. I say allegedly out of habit. I've read his manifesto. I personally am convinced that he absolutely killed this guy.
I would love to see the evidence of how they tracked him down to see if that was lawful.
So it's pretty much everybody else in the world. And I don't even know what's going to happen with the trial and everything else. I know he's been denied bail. We live in an incredibly volatile time where people on the left are incredibly frustrated and confused and, frankly, pissed off. The world seems unjust and foolish.
It doesn't seem unjust and foolish. It is. And the systems in place set there by humans are unjust and foolish.
And getting worse. When they go high, or when they go low, we go high, has worn out its welcome. It didn't.
Yeah, because it doesn't work.
Work as some people expected. And some people are frustrated and are thinking it's time to start going low.
To go low. No. I disagree. I think that the Luigi Mangione defense will be that it was self-defense. And I think that would be riveting stuff. They might do something else. I don't know. They might just try to attack the methods that the police go after. But, I mean, this seems to me to be a distance from violence issue for Matt. Because the CEO of United Healthcare already committed violence to dozens and dozens of people. People have died because of the decision-making of United Healthcare, its CEO, and then the board around it, and the people that deny people health care throughout the system. And they have some of the highest denial rates. So violence has been already, objectively, that is violence. To deny someone care that we can provide them, but we refuse based on price, that's violence. Luigi is a victim of this violence, needing procedures to have a quality of life that he should be able to have, especially even in our capitalist healthcare-based system, he should be able to have this care. But this company is denying that care, and they have a policy to do so. And while Luigi isn't killed, he is the one doing alleged killing. He's only killed one person. This is objectively less violence than the CEO he killed. And while I understand that you have like a visceral, pearl clutchy, like, no, we can't do this, because the laws permit the CEO to kill people by proxy doesn't mean that he's not killing people already. And while I would like to say that vigilante justice isn't what we would like to lean on, sometimes I think everyone agrees. Like, this is the Batman debate. Batman fails in a lot of cases because he's not willing to take the extra step, and that's like his story thing. It's not that interesting because he should kill some motherfuckers sometime. He should kill Joker on occasion, depending on the story. Like, it really should be that easy. And he lets him go because he just can't do it. It's so stupid. No, there is justified violence, there's justified self-defense, and I would argue that this is self-defense. It just is, it's difference in scale. It's one CEO, it's a drop in the bucket, but it is the lower class who is being stomped on by the upper class and has been. Like, 95% of people make less than $360,000 a year. We're not even close to a millionaire yet. 95% of us, less than $360,000 a year. Stomped on by the upper class. Like, literally. Clutch your pearls all you want, but I mean, I don't think there's... The trolley problem says that this is less death. Fewer people will die. Healthcare had improved slightly for a moment out of fear of retribution and copycat from the Luigi thing. I guarantee you he saved lives. The pen is mightier than the sword, not only because it can grant rights and freedoms to millions, but because it can sentence millions to death. Oh, yeah.
The right has managed to go low consistently. Lying, cheating, stealing, further marginalizing minorities, staging violent coups that result in the death of police officers, and instead of justice, they now control every branch of government. Instead of facing the just wrath of a government that will not be taken over, they're in charge. It feels like Bizarro World, and it's an incredibly frustrating place to live.
It doesn't really feel like Bizarro World maybe for a liberal. On the left, we've been saying that this is the problem. You denied these actual problems, and then, now here we are. And when it starts to happen, when the camps set in, and they're already, ICE raids are already happening all around the country, when this sets in, and we see the camps and the people on trucks and shit like that, on trains even, what are you going to say, man?
I wake up in it every day, and the frustrations that I feel include emails from people that are attacking me, attacking us, attacking the line, attacking secularists, attacking Americans. It doesn't matter. It feels really strange. And the left called out all of those things. They called out the lying, the cheating, they called out the insurrection, and it didn't matter. They laughed in our faces and mocked us and flatly announced how much more they're going to do when they take over. And yet the USA failed its ethics test. And now it seems...
The USA didn't fail its ethics test necessarily. It's so much more than that. You are throwing away the culpability of the liberal Democrat machine because they ran a shitty fucking campaign. It was dog shit.
We're going to continue to fail our ethics test.
Yeah, I don't think this was an ethics test fail by Americans so much as it is it is partly, but we already knew that the fascist wing of Americans existed. A lot of the people who voted for Donald Trump cited, I'm working class and shit's bad and I just want change, essentially, and they're just, kind of uninformed. They work too much to be locked in on this shit. They're just trying to make ends meet, and they vote for Donald Trump. A lot of them are young and stupid, and some of them are already getting fucked out of jobs. There's a lot of law students that I bet were Trumpers walking around their fucking campuses that are immediately denied jobs already that they were promised upon graduation. They've already cut those under this fucking that's DEI shit. So they're getting fucked. I'm sorry to say that the leftists have been right forever about this, and that the Democratic Party is a failure, and liberalism as a concept is a failure. It's just not. It's just can you even describe what liberalism is? You kind of can't. You don't have an ideology. We need class consciousness. More people are getting it. You need to understand that it's the billionaires and the oligarchs that have bought the country that are the problem, the corporations.
A good chunk of people on the left have been praising the murderer.
Absolutely.
And painting this guy as an idealized hero. He's finally standing up for the rest of us. He's pushing back against the millionaires and the billionaires and the CEOs and the oligarchs. He's pushing back against the system in the only way that works. And don't forget, he is, as I'm told, a stone cold hottie. So justice should work a little differently for him.
Justice should work a little differently for him. Those are jokes. This is like literally jokes. Come on, relax. Like, oh no, he's hot. Yeah, it's funny. Shut up. God damn it. That makes you sound whiny.
I understand the frustration and the reaction. And let me be clear. I don't mourn the death of that CEO. I don't know whether the world's better off with that person in it or not. I don't think that's a decision that I or any other individual.
Well, I mean, like, if you can understand the trolley problem, you could be like, okay, one dead CEO or thousands of dead people that he lets die over the course of his time being the CEO. And the option is, I know which lever I'm fucking pulling. While we're on the subject, though, he does get different justice than a black man would. True.
Should be making. But I'm not the slightest bit worried or upset that someone who made their money exploiting the suffering and death of others, even if that wasn't how they viewed it, even if that wasn't their intent. I'm not mourning that. I am, though, mourning the death of humanistic responses and the humanistic better angels of our nature that seem to be missing among so many of my friends. I haven't run around commenting. There's memes all over. There's jokes. Some of them are, yes, amusing. I have no problem at all with gallows humor. I have no problem. But, it's not too soon to make a joke about it. I don't feel any sadness or loss for that individual. But I worry that we are losing the thing that tried to keep us stable.
They're killing people, Matt. Like, the right wing is killing people. They're ripping families apart. This is real. The sympathy is gone. The status quo is over. You have to make peace with the fact that they are wielding violence on you, and the only way is self-defense sometimes. This is self-defense. The humanist thing to do is to clap these fuckers. I mean, stability is a delusion. Stability, it's like, sometimes you have to send a message, okay? Oftentimes that has been through riots, that has been through throwing shit, that has been through storming the fucking Bastille and cutting some fucking heads off every once in a while. It happens. Every goddamn revolution or massive change that's ever occurred in human history has been accompanied by violence because we're apes. The reason there is violence toward the upper class is because there is violence from the upper class toward the lower. It is plain and simple. Just because the violence happens secondarily due to the... It's like instead of firing a gun and immediately getting killed, they shoot a fucking law into action and it eventually kills you. Or they lobby a specific group and it eventually kills you. Or they deny your coverage and it eventually kills you. Or it splits up your family. Or it puts you in a fucking camp. Or it denies your reality as a fucking, gender non-binary or non-conforming person. Or it denies your legal marriage to your same-sex spouse. Like, come on.
When they go low, we go high. Maybe we don't.
No, not so Civil War, but you could. Class war is already... You're like, class war? They're already committing class war on you. They're already... Capitalists that own most of the things are already denying you health care. That's murder. That's murder. They are already doing it. What do you mean? Oh, a class war? What do you think a class war means? The lower classes pick up muskets and walk and they storm the mansions and they shoot all the rich people. Like, what the fuck do you think a class war is? Class war is done economically. Class war is done through bad systems. We're already in a fucking class war. This is just one of the times that an actual bullet by the lower class toward the upper is shot, and this motherfucker and liberals like him, and obviously some people, one person I guess from chat, like, it means that, like, you suddenly are believing the government and the system that is victimizing you, that, whoa, you've really crossed the line here, buddy. No, motherfucker. Are you kidding me? Like, we could make it illegal to sell insurance and have it be the death penalty, and it would be written in law, and then he wouldn't have a problem with it. I mean, maybe he'd have a problem with the death penalty, but, like, you could say it's like it's illegal to do it. And it ought to be fucking illegal to deny people health care.
We don't have to go high, but maybe we don't have to start
Who's we?
Sanctioning.
One guy did it, and we're all like, fuck yeah. That's what they fucking get. One guy did. Not a bunch of people. One fucking guy. A little catharsis.
The Shooter's Manifesto demonstrated that he wasn't some lefty idealist standing up for the rest of us. He was a confused, frustrated, and justifiably angry person.
He wasn't just... What do you mean he wasn't just... He wasn't necessarily a leftist or whatever, but he was definitely making a point about the healthcare system. He wasn't just fucking confused. Huh?
Who felt that his mother had been repeatedly screwed over and left to suffer by United Healthcare specifically. And he may be right. But there's a process to address that claim that doesn't include killing the CEO.
Petitioning the courts? The right-wing courts that are pro-corporate, that won't do anything or see any justice? So if he exhausts this and that doesn't work, at what point does he get to exact any sort of measure of response? When someone commits violence on you, are you allowed to defend yourself? Is it just because the violence is by proxy that you can't defend yourself from it? So could he have done by proxy violence to the CEO? Or would you still be against that? It seems to me that there is a power hierarchy in your head, and you can't understand that some of the problem you have with this is the violation of the lower class has to remain peaceful, even though the upper class is committing violence, and you recognize that it is violence.
He decided that he didn't care about the law. That's in his manifesto.
The process is rigid, Matt. I went through the process and still had to pay a $5,000 bill for the ER. Fuck off, right?
Decided that he was granted sovereignty by the Second Amendment, and that this justified him retaliating in whatever way he chose to. Now, the CEO almost certainly didn't know this person or their mom, probably didn't know anything about their cases, probably didn't even have any real hand in either the denial
by proxy
or even the policies in many cases that led to the denial.
Leads the policy.
So maybe if you drop down to the person that the CEO hired, or the people who reported to the CEO who made those policies, maybe they were the ones who should have been the target of this anger. Certainly, it can't be the person who just denied the claim. That's just a worker.
Not the CEO. Think of the poor CEO, Matt. He's in charge of the fucking company's direction as the chief executive officer. It's his whole job. Yeah. What do you mean? The buck stops with me. Not if you're a CEO, apparently. Please don't do too much class war. Don't overreach too far. Please stay within your tax bracket when you consider your political violence. By Matt's logic, the American Revolution was bad. Literally, right?
That's just a worker who followed the policies in order to keep their job. And it's really frustrating. Where do you put the blame? And it makes sense that he decided we have to go straight to the top. The buck stops here.
See?
This is where we have to make the change from the top down, and it won't happen any other way. The same policies that you see as problematic as your job exist in the healthcare field, and some of them have good reasons. They could be bad policies, it could be good policies.
Is he suggesting that he would be fine if Luigi had murdered the exact person who implemented the policy? It sounds like it would be more fine. Did you fill out the proper paperwork to kill the CEO? You don't get access to it in your tax bracket, I'm afraid.
Maybe the problem is having a healthcare system where exploitation and corruption exist and need to be opposed at every level.
Yep.
Maybe that system is just the wrong system.
So yes, that's true, but we're under the bad system, and so you're going to see retaliation.
If they're trying to stop doctors from exploiting insurance companies for money...
I guess Luigi should have shot the system.
Then what they're really fighting about isn't healthcare. They're fighting about money. There's profit to be made in the healthcare industry, something that should end now.
Yep.
And as long as there's profit to be made in the healthcare industry, there's going to be a battle between the healthcare providers, the doctors, the nurses, the hospitals, and the insurance.
And the victims of the insurance.
If they're trying to stop doctors from exploiting, they might have a good reason for this policy, but they could still be wrong, and this policy could still be broken, and this is somebody's mother. And it makes complete sense that someone terribly frustrated at watching their mother suffer.
Right. And so you're upset that the profit is the thing, and the CEO and usually like the board of directors and stuff, those are the people who see most of the profit, not the doctors or the policy, like any person who has a specific denial claim request going through. So the blame is the people seeking the profit. I agree, because they set the system, and you certainly must argue that the CEO is quite responsible for the system in place at this particular insurance agency, because although we agree that the capitalist market of healthcare is unethical, there are of course levels of how unethical you can get while you operate as insurance within that system, right? And United Healthcare has the highest, there's 30% denial rate. It's the highest in the country. So, I mean, they set the policies, Matt. It's not just the healthcare system. Like, they are the healthcare system. They're a big part of the health. They're a reason the healthcare system is what it is. They lobby for it. They pay the politicians for it. So, yeah, it is their fault.
Could be tipped over the edge to taking action like this. I'm genuinely, I'm sorry for his mom and for him more than I am for the CEO. I completely get how you can go from A to B. But there's a difference between empathizing and celebrating.
Nah, we sell it.
There's a difference between
Crab dance.
empathizing and applauding.
No, big applause.
If you're going to say that the solution to the problems in the system is to just start killing people.
That's not the solution. No one is saying just start killing people is the solution. That's not the argument. The argument is, I guess really what Luigi said is, if you don't change the system, it's going to happen again. That's really what he said. Because look at how touchable you really are. Look at how easy this was. You know what I mean? That's what it really says. It says that they're not untouchable, and it says that they should be scared if they mistreat the fucking populace. We are human beings, more so than a fucking CEO is, on account of us being more numerous, of course.
Who do you target and why?
Well, if you, I don't know. I don't have like a list of people. I'm not like planning any sort of event or anything. But who do you target and why? I think it's pretty obvious who you would target if you were trying to stop the bad healthcare system. It'd be the people profiting from the bad healthcare system, right? Like, and that's what Luigi did, allegedly.
And why do you get to decide? Vigilante justice isn't justice. We know this. There's a reason why we've outlawed it.
The reason we outlawed vigilante justice has more to do with American like pretty Caucasian barbarity toward native populations, Mexicans, black people, etc., and like it just not jiving with a modern nation. It actually, I mean, it leads up to probably the Wells Fargo catastrophe. Like they funded, not Billy the Kid, fucking. They funded some guy. Oh man, now I can't remember the name of the gang. The cowboy guy. Anyway, they funded like hits. Wells Fargo, the bank. They like full on bought and paid for hits in the Old West.
I think that it is frequently morally virtuous to oppose unjust laws, and occasionally a moral duty to break those laws. But the law that was broken here,
Wyatt Earp,
was against murder and vigilantism. Those laws aren't unjust. They exist for good reasons. And we have to find a better way. Now, that doesn't mean laying down. It doesn't mean you just let, we're just going to let, Matt just wants to let the corporations win. No. And by the way, I'm not sitting here saying I have the solution to this. I'm in favor of socialized medicine. I'm in favor of changing the healthcare system. But we now don't have, we in the sense that the people who might ostensibly agree with me, we don't have the power to make that change.
Yeah. Listen to what you're saying. And who took the power from you to make that change? And why are you just like, well, we don't have the power? Like, this is where the liberal ends. They're like, well, we don't have the power to do it. Oh. And so a leftist goes, fuck that shit. And a liberal goes, I guess that's just how it is. And that's where the split is. A leftist goes, nah, fuck that. I'm going to stand up for myself. And you're like, what's to be done? I don't have any solutions. Man, it sucks. You don't have to be this defeated. Like, liberals do not have to stop there at what the rules say. You know who wrote the rules? The guys in charge. Whoever it happened to be at the time. Just the guys in charge. How did they get in charge? A lot of fucking violence. A lot of it. The right wields violence every single fucking time they take office, and so does the Democrats. Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable. John F. Kennedy. I mean, that's true, though. Though defeated Libs just shrugging on behalf of an entire country. It sucks, man. So you're going to see pockets of violence. Like, did you say this when there was riots happening? Did you, like, were you like, why are they rioting? I don't know if he was. Was that what he's saying? Because this is not different.
As I say this, there are people in chat saying, he literally killed a serial killer and free Luigi. This is where we've gotten.
Yeah. This is where we've gotten where you're wrong. Yes, in the face of fascism. I'm sorry, man. You're just you're behind the times. Free Luigi.
Moral people who object to January 6th and other things are celebrating a murder.
Yes.
And it makes sense. It makes sense that they would respond that way.
Yep.
We don't have to lie down and give up. But I worry that if we start saying, okay, we'll just forgive this murder and that murder, and we'll forgive the murders that we agree with.
Yep.
Who's we? We spent a long time building ethical systems on the backs of...
They're not... Yes, or people before us had spent a long time building ethical systems. They've been torn down. We do not have ethical systems. We don't have ethical systems. The court systems aren't ethical. The prison system, the policing system, the banking system, the economic system, the housing system, healthcare, education, none of them are ethical. They are all slaves to the dollar. This system is trash. It's barely functional. When the working class gets fucked over these next 4 years, and we're getting fucked, especially like labor class, like if you do manual labor, man.
Other ethical systems and learning from the mistakes. We learned how to have better laws and how to be better and how to make sure that a disgruntled person...
And how did they do that, Matt? How did they do that? They learn how to be better. How did they get rid of the bad systems in the past? Like the slavery, like Jim Crow, for civil rights. What were they doing? What did it fucking take? Every single fucking time we've gotten any sort of progress, what is it fucking taken? You live in privilege and you do not understand that this has always been delicate, and the right and the capitalists, like the upper class and the right, mostly the same thing, have pushed to the point where they have broken whatever code you're saying we used to abide by. And the problem with liberals and why you keep losing elections is because of this mentality. Exactly what you're saying. We got to go high. They're going low. We got to go high. They're not playing by rules, and you are. And the rules are there to undercut you. And you're too dumb to realize it. I don't know why. They're fucking shooting at you. Like, they're literally tearing families apart right now. It's going to it's just going to keep churning. He's talking about expansionist fucking divine right. I need Greenland and Panama and shit. So crazy.
Has some avenue for justice. And that avenue for justice seems to be gone in this system. Where is the avenue for justice for his mom? Where's the avenue for justice for all the other people who've had their claims denied, who are dying, who are suffering? Mm-hmm. While somebody else, a bean counter somewhere, treats them, a person, like a bean. And how can we make the most money off of this person?
Yeah.
How can we make the most money off of their suffering? How can we make the most money off of their death?
Yes. You have just justified the CEO shooting.
That's the part of the system that's broken.
The system is people that do that. That's the system. People whose actions abide by that. What do you think? What do you fucking think it's a robot?
It's understandable that people have died and that people will retaliate. We could say that that guy was wrong.
I don't say he's wrong, though. This is the trolley problem. You can say it's not maximally ethical. It's not. Killing a guy isn't the most maximally ethical thing you could do, I suppose. But it's definitely more ethical than letting him kill people. And it's certainly a form of self-defense in this case. Certainly. Your discomfort with it is the layers through which, like, the proxy by which the CEO killed people and the intimate and you know, geographical closeness of Luigi and his kill, allegedly. Like, it's literally just he used a gun instead of paperwork. If he had a death note, would you be against it?
Lots of otherwise reasonable people who are likely to be similarly wrong in the future if we don't actually make changes to the system. This wasn't some lone nut. This wasn't a gun problem. This was all of those things that we typically point to as, oh, here, we just need more thoughts and prayers, and we need to change our mental health procedures and all this. This was, to all the current evidence, an otherwise reasonable person, frustrated at the way his mother was treated, who decided not to use the available processes, out of frustration that he didn't think they were likely to work, and went for the closest thing to the nuclear option that he had access to.
It's crazy. So you think he should have exhausted that option, and then if that doesn't work, when is violence justified? And it's just never for you. So I don't know why you're saying this right now, as if him trying another method before turning towards the gun would have changed anything for you. The system is not broken. This is the system, Matt. The system is built to be unjust. Yeah. Hitler is sending people to camps. Too bad killing him is unethical, right? Well, he started a war. So I guess if we have to declare official war, we have to do the paperwork for it. Very liberal.
We don't have to celebrate the act.
He should have said, "Hey, buddy," and turn around. I'm declaring war. Pop, pop, pop. And then it would have been fine.
To mourn the problem in the system, and we don't have to celebrate any of it to try to fix it.
I disagree. I think we can absolutely take catharsis in finally one bean on our side of the scale. You know what I mean? We get one, and we get to measure it in dollars, so it weighs a little bit more than all the people he's killed, because that's how we value people now. It feels good. It's fine. It's fine to feel good about bad people getting good things. Gotta declare war because a good capitalist doesn't burn bridges or kill their potential customers.
As a humanist, I cannot sanction his actions, but I can empathize.
Okay. I don't know. I'm just like realistic. I don't know.
I do not sanction his actions, and yet I still sympathize. There are people, billions of them, who are suffering.
Oh. And
it's really easy to say, I'll be the one to decide how to avenge those people.
You think Luigi made an easy decision to say, yes, I will finally be the one? That's not easy. I'm humanist, and I celebrate the elimination of anti-humans. True.
And you may be right. The problem is, if you're right, it should be easy to work cooperatively with others. The foundational principles of humanism that grant us sovereignty and that set us out to try to resolve our problems without appealing to gods, without appealing to religions, those principles...
I don't even think about humanism.
...not only grant us the sovereignty over our life, but protect us from the sovereignty of others.
They're ideas. They don't protect us. I think to be a humanist, you must understand that the human is an animal and not a perfect logic machine. You know, I think we just have to realize, and really try to empathize with that we're apes. And I think Matt is like, no, we can rise above it. And it's like, well, we can only be the humans we are. And there's billions of us, and we're all just screaming like apes at each other, pretty much.
You get to decide how you're going to act. And this individual decided and wrote in his little manifesto that he's above the law. He's a law unto himself.
I don't think he thought he was above the law. Fuck the law. He wasn't. The law allows the CEO to kill more people than he killed. What are you talking about?
And if you celebrate that,
like your adherence to the law. Stop. What? The law. It's a thing. It cannot be broken. Like, yeah, it can. It absolutely can be broken. This law, like, the system is unjust, including a lot of the laws. Like, oh my God.
Then you have to avoid being hypocritical, celebrate it for the people who committed crimes on January 6th.
No. If you strip the context of why Luigi did any alleged activities, then I guess it would be exactly the same as January 6th, Matt. Jesus fucking Christ. That is so stupid. That's not even close. You have to strip the context of everything. It's just like saying, like, you're not different from saying stealing is wrong 100% of the time. It's like, clearly you can conceive of ways in which stealing something you need to live could be an ethically good thing. All murders are wrong. I disagree that all murders are wrong. Was killing slavers in the Civil War wrong? You know what I mean? Was murdering the bourgeoisie with the guillotine wrong in the French Revolution? Maybe some of them. Probably not the bourgeoisie.
There's been no demonstration that anything unjust happened other than the murder. Just that he was convinced that it happened, and that all of us empathize with a broken healthcare system, and that people are suffering and the frustrations of the red tape. The system has to be fixed.
The system has to be fixed. The system is the people that do it.
And so once again, I'm stuck because
you're a liberal. You don't have an answer to this. We do.
I'm glad that things are changing, but I don't like the way some of them are changing. And as a humanist, I'm going to have to keep struggling with the fact that people are taking actions that I'm opposed to on behalf of policies that I'm opposed to, in the hope of making changes that I'm in favor of.
Yep. Learning that political violence is justified in cases, I guess, or struggling with it at least. Like, the fight for liberation sometimes happens, It's going to happen. They're forcing it to happen.
And we just have to make sure that we're not celebrating the wrong things for the wrong reasons, and that we're not turning into hypocrites, and that we're not turning into the things that we hated and opposed. I'm not saying when they go low, we go high. I'm saying we should stay ethical. And when the laws are unjust, the ethical thing to do is to oppose them and violate them.
Right. Yeah. The ethical thing is to oppose them and violate them. And that's what he did. There you go. Walk yourself into support.
But that's not what happened here.
Killing tyrants is ethical. Totally agree.
And so all of you can feel however you want to feel about it. You can think he's a hero.
What?
You can applaud him for it. You can hope that he gets away. You can have your Luigi lookalike contest. You can encourage all of those things that you think are fun.
Luigi lookalike contests are fun.
In your eat the rich, screw the CEO's mentality.
Eat the rich, screw the CEO's mentality. How can you say we when you say the left? What do you even mean? The rich? I don't mean fucking guys who have retirement funds. I mean the billionaires. Like a billionaire, that's $1,000 million.
And I'm there with you for a good chunk of it. Just not celebrating murder. Just not sanctioning vigilante justice, because it's never justice. Thanks.
Because it's never justice? I just disagree that it's never justice. I don't think the argument that people are making when they support Luigi is saying, yes,
it's cold.
All must now do vigilante justice. They're saying, that's what you fucking get, man. That's what happens. You push somebody too far with your shitty fucking system, and that's what fucking happens. We knew it was going to happen at some point, and we won't be surprised if it happens again. And frankly, you should let this boy go, because one death is not as bad as the deaths that the CEO could have ensured was going to happen on the populace. I don't even understand how you don't understand it. He says he does. I don't think he does. How can you kill a person? I don't know. I mean, I feel like killing a Nazi or whatever is totally fine. I feel like we understand that it's our duty as Americans to overthrow tyrants. We understand that we ought to be free, and none of this has happened. Like, I just think you can only push people so far. And if you got nothing else to lose and you're pushed to the edge, I'm not surprised that people are starting to correctly identify their enemies. I don't want CEOs to have to be forced to choose between life or death. But, I mean, to operate within this capitalist structure is to do so unethically. People are going to identify that. I mean, it's a risk you take, I guess, to make a lot of money by being a fucking crook over people's bodies, lives, and health. It's not surprising at all.